Why should we teach young girls about their reproductive system and their menstrual cycles? For one, it's a normal thing. It's going to happen to almost every girl. Why don't we teach it to them in school? It should be taught in school. Everything else is taught in school. What about what's going on inside of us? Some girls menstruate between the ages of 10 and 16. Some girls get it a little bit more earlier than the age of 10, but they're not taught about their periods. But why don't we do it? Why are we so ashamed to talk about periods? It is normal. Big deal. When girls aren't taught about their period, they're more likely to feel ashamed about their period, when it is completely normal. But do they know that? No. They don't know that a piece of their uterine lining is coming out. Sounds gross, right? But it's not. To girls that just get their period, they don't see it as normal. When I was in the 6th grade, my best friend came over to spend the night. And she got her period that night. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't help her. At that time, I knew that was normal, that it was gonna happen to me, but I didn't know what an actual period was, or what happens when you're on your period. But all that stuff about shedding your uterine lining and stuff like that, I didn't know that until high school. After like 2-3 years of having a period, I didn't know what was going on in my body. I should have been taught that before. My mom did not teach me that. Neither did my friends. You know who taught me that? The internet. Gotta love the internet, am I right? But throughout my life, I've met girls that don't know what's going on in their body during their menstrual cycle. They may know their reproductive organs. They don't know about their periods. Isn't that sad? I'm happy that I learned my own way, but I kind of wish I knew what it was beforehand. Because imagine not knowing, and then that happens to you. A couple years back, I read this one post that describes what a period is without going into too much detail. And a period is like your uterus decorates the apartment for a visitor. Nice everything. Then when that visitor doesn't show up, she gets mad and throws everything out. Then starts all over again for the next month. Pretty good example, because that's what I tell my 9-year-old brother, and I'm gonna tell my other 3 sisters. But my sisters are too young to know about that. But my brother is old enough to know about that. And that's my brother. He's a boy. He's not gonna be going through it, but he understands it. We don't control our emotions most of the time. I learned that the hard way because, I thought I'd be able to control it. No, that is not the case. That's what I tell my brother. When we teach young girls about their periods, they will better understand themselves. They know that their emotions are high, and they're not gonna feel guilty because they're crying over spilled milk. At a time, I would feel guilty because my hormones were fluctuating and I couldn't control it. It's frustrating. It is honestly frustrating when you can't control your emotions. But when you first get it, you can't control it. And it's not your fault. That is the main reason why I think a female's reproductive system and their menstrual cycle and period should be taught at school. But I can see why parents wouldn't want their kids to be taught about periods so early. Some girls don't get them at the age of 9. Some girls will get them at 12, and other girls won't. And some girls don't get them until they're in high school. Some parents might see it as girls are too young to learn about their periods while they're in the 5th grade or 6th grade. But some girls will get it early. And they need to know. They have the right to know, but they also need to know. They're going to be dealing with their periods while they're in school or at home or out and about, anywhere. My mom didn't want me to teach my brother about periods at the age of 8. I sugarcoated it for him. But he knows. Now she's getting ready to give him the sex talk, and I'm like, just tell him about it. Right now it makes him feel uncomfortable, but he's gonna have to learn about that. Teaching girls about their periods might make them feel uncomfortable before they have it, but it is so much better when the knowledge is there about it. instead of later. My sisters are gonna go through the same thing I went through, and almost every other girl are gonna go through, because that is life. They're girls, they're gonna go through it, their friends are gonna go through it. So what if people think it's gross and it makes them feel uncomfortable to talk about? It is important, so why not talk about it ahead of time? If I didn't have periods, I would think it's gross, because ew, you're bleeding, ew, you're having mood swings, ew this, ew that, ew all of it. Guys might think this is gross, and I know guys that still think it's gross. We're adults now. But I am a girl, and I have to live with this until I'm like 50. That's like 30 years with it. If my math is correct, I don't know. When we go to the doctor's office, we're embarrassed to tell our doctor some things. So what? Eventually we're gonna have to tell them so they can help us. That's kind of how it works. We should talk to girls about their periods before they get them. So what if it makes you feel uncomfortable at the time? The talk is still gonna have to happen. Why not talk about it in the 5th grade and up?